اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وبارك اللهم على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. When we talk about three pillars of reviving our faith in our lives, and we talk about our personal and family relationship with Allah, and then we talk about our community, our faith community, our Muslim community's relationship with each other, and connection with our center that brings us together, and connection with the faith as a community. And then we talk about the third pillar being our presence and our activism and our civic engagement with our peers that are not Muslims, with the issues of our city and our nation. These three pillars can't happen. They can't happen if it doesn't start with me. If every one of us, doesn't realize that I am the one that's faulty. I'm the one that's stopping. I'm the one. It's not everybody else. It's not the people that are making the decisions. It's not the people who aren't connecting with the Quran. It's me and my relationship with Allah. And when I can master, first of all, my command of being powerless to Allah. It's ironic to say my command of being powerless, meaning I accept that there's things in my life, there's things about my weaknesses that I'm unable to change without Allah. That He's the only one who can change for me. And I admit my powerlessness. Until I'm willing to do that, and to humble myself to do that, there's no reform. Because the real reform doesn't happen in the things that I'm able to do. The real change doesn't happen in the things that we can change. The real change happens in the things that we can't see to change, or that we see and are resisting what's needed to change it. We're resisting what's needed to make the change in our lives. Just this week, not necessarily from the Evansville community, but from people that are close to me, from other communities and from the Evansville community. I've already heard of a young man whose family attends mosque, whose family is active. Mother volunteers and father volunteers, not necessarily from this community. And the son, who also attends the masjid, and goes to Sunday school, and is learning Quran. He's had suicidal thoughts several times, and his family was alerted about that risk. And then I was contacted by a young man who's struggling between his parents' desire that he not marry someone who's not Muslim, his desire to marry a specific girl that he already got engaged into a relationship with before he was religious and before his family was concerned about him being religious. And now he's stuck between his heartstrings being drawn and him wanting to do what pleases his parents, and him wanting to make it right instead of living an intimate life with a girl that he knows is forbidden, wanting to marry her and make it correct, thinking that may be his solution. This is all just this week. And every week, there's cases, not because I can solve them, but because people need someone to talk to. We are not going to be able to make strides individually or as families. If everything that's troubling our families, everything that's troubling us individually is dug under the rugs and our heads is in the sand. If our head is in the sand about the problems that we have, and we're not willing, number one, to be vulnerable with each other, to develop that trust where we can have at least a group around us that we can be able to have these conversations with and seek this help from. If we can't have that for this community, there's no such thing as resuscitating. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. We recite it, some people recite it at every meeting. The Prophet ﷺ, there's a sunnah of some of the companions, they would recite it at the end of every meeting, every time they were together. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Tawasaw is not like nasiha. It's not like someone giving someone advice. Tawasaw, meaning that it's a two-way street. It's feeling one another's pain. It's when someone is not at a prayer and usually comes to it, and that's why prayer in congregation is a big deal. And this is not to make anyone feel shame about not coming to congregation. I know it's different when we live far away from places. But the reason prayer in congregation is a big deal isn't just about the individual worship. If it was about the individual worship, why would Allah give 27 times the reward for someone attending prayer in congregation when the person could have focus and be alone in a private setting in their home and maybe weep to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and have that connection with Allah, and that's what prayer is about? Why would congregation be 27 times the reward if it wasn't for Allah to teach us that you cannot live this faith? You cannot do any one of those three pillars I talked about without each other. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Hold on to the rope of Allah, جَمِيعًا, all together, and don't split apart. Don't be apart from each other. Some people have that. They have a circle of friends they trust. They have a circle of brothers they can talk to. They have a circle of friends that they can be vulnerable with. But it's way too few. And what we have to have is a community of trust. If we're going to make any dent in moving forward together, we have to have a community of trust. I'm happy to be the ears for everyone's pain. But that's not scalable. I want everyone to come to me. But that's not scalable. Our beloved Sallallahu gave the scalable model. The scalable model was given to us in the Quran. That we're all here for each other. We have to be able to trust each other. We have to be able to face the troubles that we have as a community. Al-mu'minu mir'at akhihi. The believer is the mirror to his brother. This isn't meaning that he points out the faults. You know what the mirror does, right? It scrutinizes. You're able to scrutinize what's wrong with your image. But the other thing the mirror does, which we forget sometimes, is that we're also able, because it's us seeing ourselves, we're also able to see the beauty that's in ourselves. Most human beings, when they see themselves in the mirror, they are very lenient in how they look. But they don't fall short of seeing what things need to be fixed. So when the believer says that the believer is a mirror to his brother, he shows him the faults. But he doesn't speak loudly. A mirror doesn't say it out loud. Hey, by the way, you missed a part of your hair. It just shows it to you. The believer shows his brother through his example of what's right, through being a trusted source, of being a confidant, of being there for him, of being able to feel his pain before he even says it. And that can only happen when we see each other, when we experience each other's lives, when we're willing to speak about what's troubling us, and when we're willing to hear what's troubling us. All of us, don't think that you and your family have the problems, and everyone else doesn't have problems. Everyone else is hiding their problems, just like you're trying to hide your problems. And that's not our beloved Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's community. That's not the community of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But here's the beautiful, compassionate, glad tidings of Allah. Because I was reminded that I need to always tell my brothers and sisters the beautiful, glad tidings of Allah. We are a community that's ready for that change. All of us here, the majority of us. Some are sitting here just like every other week since the beginning of their lives attending Jummah. And that may not change for a while, and that's okay. Everyone comes in their time. They're here listening. Some going in one ear and out the other. Some going in one ear and staying without actionability being an intent. And that's okay. It will come with time. But the majority of us here want to change. We want to change personally. We want to help our community change. We want to change the global policy of our nation, of course. all of us. But we also should want to change the ills that our peers are experiencing in our nation. We want to change that 10 highly paid, highly experienced individuals can go on national television to debate how they're going to lead a nation, and all they're talking about is superficial issues and how they're going to superficially address those issues. That's what we've come to. That's what we've come to. And it doesn't start with us pointing the finger at the Republican Party candidates. It doesn't start with us pointing the finger at our national government. It starts with us pointing the finger in the mirror and making an intent for what we talked about in the first khutbah a little bit ago. Making the intent that the most beloved actions to Allah are the little ones, as long as they're consistent. The consistent deeds, even if they're little. So I make time in my life, personally first, that I will have time for the Quran, time for reflection, time for figuring out what am I not doing to be a trusted friend to someone in the community. What am I not doing to not face the music with issues in my life and my family? Am I not listening to my kids in a way that's not judgmental, so they're not talking to me? Am I, as a child, as a young man, as a young woman, am I assuming that my mother and father are going to judge me, so I'm not talking to them? I'm assuming that I'm going this alone. Am I afraid to be vulnerable? Because I want to keep the image that they have of me and not let them know that I have weaknesses and I've sinned and I've gotten weak. We need to change the conversations we're having, change the way we're approaching the world, and make the time in our routine for Allah and the solutions He's offered us. If we don't make time in our routine, this weekend, make the plan for the rest of the school year or whatever time period is considered another routine. Make the plan that there's a minimum level of acquaintance with the scripture of Allah, conversations in the home, and patience and changing of behavior in the home. Because we all will go back. I guarantee you. We'll go charge this weekend and make a plan. And we're going to go back to our old habits. Because old habits die hard. And that's okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاذْكُرْ رَبَّكَ إِذَا نَسِيتَ وَقُلْ عَسَىٰ أَن يَهْدِيَنِي رَبِّي لِأَقْرَبَ مِنْ هَذَا رَشَدًا. That if you forget your Lord, remember Him. That's all you have to do. You don't have to start by feeling ashamed and feeling like, oh, there's no hope for me, there's no hope for my family. No. Every time you feel that you've forgotten Allah, remember Him. And say, my Lord, عَسَىٰ أَن يَهْدِيَنِي رَبِّي. My Lord will guide me. لِأَقْرَبَ مِنْ هَذَا رَشَدًا. So I will come closer to this guidance. This is the story of our lives. This is our story together. None of us are going this alone. Young man, young woman, you're not going this alone. Alhamdulillah, our young brothers and sisters have availed a time monthly to be together and to call their friends to come and be together with them, to remember and study the Book of Allah. And inshallah, we'll try to avail together a time for the adults. And inshallah, we'll figure out in our lives, each of us personally, what am I not doing to avail myself to a friend? What am I not doing to share my troubles with a friend? And we set the example in our life personally, and our family will follow. Don't start with your family. My beloved brothers that are going to get excited. Don't start with your significant other. Start with you. وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاصْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا لَا نَسْأَلُكَ رِزْقًا نَحْنُ نَرْزُقُكَ. Command your family of prayer and be وَاصْطَبِرْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't say وَاصْبِرْ عَلَيْهَا. وَاصْبِرْ is like 1 time, 2 times, be patient. Ask them once, ask them twice, and be patient when they don't respond. وَاصْطَبِرْ. All the time. As long as you're living, you're going to be asking and reminding your kids, asking and reminding your wife, asking and reminding your husband. And there's going to be a process that's slow moving in your eyes. Your job, وَالصَّبْرِ عَلَيْهَا. And be permanently patient with the shortcomings you see from your family. Why? Because Allah doesn't ask you sustenance. All He's asking you to do is this role for Him. لَا نَسْأَلُكَ رِزْقًا نَحْنُ نَرْزُقُكَ. Why did Allah conclude the ayah of you being a model for your family and being patient consistently and extensively with your family? Why did He conclude it? We're not asking you sustenance, we're giving you sustenance. Because all He asks is that you uphold that role. And then He's going to give you all the sustenance you need. He's going to give your family all the sustenance they need. I ask Allah the High and Exalted that He empower us to live the message of our beloved Sallallahu as is befitting to live. I ask Allah the High and Exalted to allow us to fill our routine with those consistent smaller deeds that will get us closer to Him. اللهم يا رب اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت اللهم اغفر وارحم وتجاوز عما تعلم انك انت العز الاكرم اللهم ارزقنا حبك وحب من يحبك وحب كل عمل يقربنا الى حبك اللهم ارزقنا الشهاده في سبيلك خالصه لوجهك الكريم وتب علينا انك انت التواب الرحيم واغفر لنا وارحمنا يا رب العالمين واخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.